Hello and welcome everyone to the last show of Mr. Chardish. We just went through the play Anger and fought with a sword against a bunch of animals. That's really what happened. But now we continue our journey through the game, so I'm very excited. Waste no time, and it started raining.
How did you?
What do you mean?
I only showed this once. How do you even manage? Well, not all demons can be buried.
Demons?
Pride, anger, whatever you'd like to call them.
I'm afraid I still don't understand your meaning.
Yes, misunderstanding. The worst of the bunch. I didn't even mean to turn it into an argument back then.
Interesting. So we learned a bunch about some people leaving and that him having some darker sides to him that made it hard for people to live around him. And also the game is very beautiful. But yeah, there seems to be more about it, and I guess we will find out more as to why Ella left and why others left. What do we have here? Mr. Chardish, I'm outraged by your last show. I took my children to see it and the ending was so scary my son spent the whole way back crying. I demand my money back. Regard, Agatha Yellowbless. Okay. Scary play. Mr. Chardish, you know perfectly well that I try not to be overtly critical, and if possible, I try to find something worthy and positive in every work of art. Regardless, I believe the last play, well, to put it mildly, it seemed a bit rushed. If I may be perfectly honest, I'm surprised you've decided to put it on, since you still play Ascension, don't you? Regards, Isabella Bailey. Interesting, so lots of people not a fan of it. Remember, always check the state of lines before every spectacle. Check for tears and mouse bites. When changing the lines, make sure the maximum load so the lines can hold 4 times the load. Don't lower items in burst. Well, here we go. Ascension. So we heard a bunch about that play. It was referenced a lot. Oh.
They're coming.
Oh, we can jump very high here.
We'll rise. Higher.
So, why should you hire me at Linfield? Because I'm persistent. Yeah, I'm quite a tenacious bastard.
So the birdcage has been kind of a theme in other plays as well, or at least in these illustrations of the plays. Wonder what the exact meaning behind it will be.
Look. Everyone.
Was something up, all the way up there. Another cage, but maybe this leads there. maybe not. I want to get to those cages for those sound bites. Oh, there.
Will rise.
There we go.
Can I stay here for a bit more? I'll help with the blocks. What? No, everything's fine. I'm simply... Can I stay a bit longer?
Okay. I don't think we have heard about Jim before. At least not that I remember.
Further. Faster.
And how did the rest of the cast end up?
Interesting.
Forward.
Almost feels like something really bad happened at some point.
It's my destiny. To go where no one has ever gone.
Okay, we have a couple cages there. Question is how we get there.
Jim is now making those aeroplanes, can you believe? Do you know, I remember that kid chasing after you with a screwdriver.
That was Jim that we heard of before, so he was kind of an engineer or became an engineer.
So, are we really doing this? With the... everything? Did you rob the bank?
Very curious. Anything else down here? Don't want to miss anything. Around. Doesn't seem that way though. Okay. Let's move forward. These hand-drawn
Everyone.
areas are really interesting and pretty. Must be a ton of work to do this hand-drawn, right?
Cold-faced statues block my path. Inertia. In one place.
Looking for some cages. Oh.
Vowed.
Oh. There's one.
Man, this bat... it's brilliant!
For eternity.
Goodness usually loses to ambition achievement.
I won't stay.
Oh, we're a bird.
Well, what if we took a more mythical approach? I can see him making the face already.
Robert, give him a chance.
We'll be able to tout this on the poster.
Interesting, we're bird now. We're ascending.
Could you tell us what inspired Ascension?
Up, up. We're used to being a bird. Look at
So
this.
clear. In the light at last.
Wanna fly through the circle?
I got here on my own. I can go even further.
Art was always there. The desire to go beyond the narrow confines of everyday life, mixed with an attempt to encapsulate the chaos of life in the conventions of drama or comedy.
Of those memory fragments is what I call them now. I think that's the most accurate. Because they almost feel like memories,
One
either
cannot
from
deny
Ella
artists
or
separate
from
themselves from the ordinary people.
the tape
Usually
recorder.
not of their own accord. Our worlds are simply too different. Some places you can only reach on your own. No shortcuts here. That much is obvious. Each artist has to take their works on their own, and it's up to them to see it succeed or fail. Or so I thought many years ago.
Okay. It's an interesting look into the mind of an artist.
Daniel, however, seems to have disappeared after that unfortunate success of yours.
Oh, interesting. Unfortunate success of yours. What does that mean?
I love to have fun in a good company, and I will love it until the day I die.
Strength and the team achievement. Getting all the achievements. I'm ascending in my Steam achievements. Just looking for more of those memory orbs.
To be above it all. To fly. Higher.
Oh. That was Ascension. Interesting.
You're talking about Ascension, right?
This is the best of all plays shown in Linfield. Certainly the most well-known. The set design was astounding.
All Ella's work.
Are you quite all right, Mr. Chardish?
No. Ascension was my dream. I wanted to prove that Linfield was more than fairy tales for children. That we were on par with London and the rest of the stages of the world. I wanted us all to be heard by more than the few families who came to see us regularly. That's why I pushed too hard.
Ah.
I wanted to be heard.
Interesting. They might have pushed too hard for everything. I think that will lead us down. We can still trust the old machinery, it seems. Daydreaming. That's probably our next play, right? Robert, my friend. Oh, how do I hate you sometimes. Couldn't you have staged plays like this while you were still in London? Did you really need all the bees, meadows, sunflowers, and the menagerie to catch the wind in your sails, or rather in the wings? Not to mention you waited until I was able to come see it. This is torment, betrayal! But honestly, I'm glad to hear you've started playing seriously. The tales need to be told, of course, but you've always been suited to be a bit of higher drama. Hug Ella for me and tell her I hope you'll both pay me a visit. We're playing the mouse trap, I know, yet again. I'll get you some tickets. I'll buy some wine and we'll probably celebrate your success. J. Lake. Maybe Jim? Is that Jim, maybe? Ascension notes. Rings, Claude Debussy. Practice diction while doing the dishes. Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said the butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will make my batter better. So it was better Betty Butter bought a bit of better butter. Okay, here we go. Wanna challenge me? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Woodchuck he would as much as he could and chuck as much wood as woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Near an ear, a nearer ear, a nearer eerie ear. Lesser leather, never weathered weather better. Okay, I think I did that all right. Oh, my first. Ooh, is that blood or paint? A pudding. Christmas pudding. Sounds good. There's another mask. Kingdom module. The Three Heads of the Well. Long before Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, there reigned in the eastern part of England a king who kept his court at Colchester. In the midst of all his glory, his queen died, leaving behind her an only daughter about 15 years of age, who, for her beauty and kindness, was the wonder of all that knew her. Yeah, that's a weird break. But the king, hearing of a lady who had likewise an only daughter, had a mind to marry her for the sake of her riches. Though she was old, ugly, hook-nosed, and humpbacked, her daughter was a yellow dotty, full of envy and ill nature, and in short was much of the same mold as her mother. But in a few weeks the king attended by the nobility and gentry, brought his deformed bride to the palace where the marriage rites were performed. She had not been long in the court before she set the king against his own beautiful daughter by false reports. The young princess, having lost her father's love, grew weary of the court, and one day, meeting with her father in the garden, she begged him with tears in her eyes to let her go and seek her fortune, to which the king consented, and ordered her stepmother to give her what she pleased. She went to the queen, who gave her a canvas bag of brown bread and hard cheese, with a bottle of beer. Though this was but a pitiful dowry for a king's daughter, she took it with thanks and proceeded on her journey, passing through groves, woods, and valleys, till at length she saw an old man sitting on a stone at the mouth of a cave, who said, "Good morrow, fair maiden, whither away so fast?" "Aged father," she says, says she. I'm going to seek my fortune. What have you got in your bag and bottle? Right. Jack now resolved to enter the giant's cave in search of his treasure, and passing along through a great many windings and turnings, he came at length to a large room paved with free stone, at the upper end of which a boiling cauldron, and on the right hand a large table at which the giant used to dine. Then he came to a window, barred with iron, through which he looked and beheld a vast number of miserable captives, who, seeing him, cried out, "Alas, young man, art thou come to be one amongst us in this miserable den?" "Aye," quoth Jack, "but pray tell me, what is the meaning of your captivity?" "We are kept here," said one, "till such time as the giants have a wish to feast, and then the fattest among us is slaughtered, and many are the times they have died upon murdered men." "Say you so," quoth Jack, and straightway unlocked the gate and let them free, who all rejoiced like condemned men at sight of a pardon. Then, searching the giant's coffer, he shared the gold and silver equally among them, and took them to a neighboring castle, where they all feasted and made merry over their deliverance. But in the midst of all this mirth, a messenger brought news that one Thunderdell, a giant with two heads, having heard of the death of his kinsman, had come from the northern dales to be revenged on Jack, and was within. Okay, so we have some fairy tales here. But before we jump into the next story, the next play, we will take a short break, and then we will continue with the last show of Mr. Chardish tomorrow. If you like this episode, please give the video a like. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Share the video with friends, family, and the people on the internet. That all helps me out a whole bunch and will bring you more content in the future. You can also check out the Patreon link down below in the description box to support the channel even more. And I will be back with more The Last Show of Mr. Chardish tomorrow. Until then, have a great time.